what are we going to discuss here? You may not know this, but if you've been following me, you should know this because I've discussed this. Contrary to modern Judaism, contrary to rabbis like Tovia Swinger, there have always been, before, during, and even after the time of Christ, Jews who taught, believed, and affirmed. Listen to this. Now class has begun. All right. You ready? Class has begun. There have always been, before, during, and even after the time of Christ, Jews, class begun, who have affirmed, taught that Messiah is a pre-human, pre-existent being, and many of these sources even indicate that he's divine. Contrary to what Singer and others teach you, we're going to go in depth. Okay, are you listening? I need you to listen because class begun, and I'm giving you documentation. And I even quote liberal critical scholars. These scholars are not Bible-believing Christians. These scholars don't believe in the Trinity or Christ died and rose again. They are simply scholars like Bart Ehrman, John J. Collins. I was going to bring John J. Collins on. I had asked him, I had spoken to him, and he told me he doesn't believe Jesus rose from the dead, and even questions whether God exists. And yet, he's considered one of the greatest Old Testament scholars and professors. And his wife, Adila J. Collins, is considered one of the greatest New Testament professors and scholars. Okay, everyone with me there? Are you guys listening? Let's begin. Let's focus in class. All right. Now, they admit, because they have no axe to grind, they don't have any hope. We haven't seen you in a while, man. God bless you and your family. You're a little angel. They don't have an axe to grind. They don't have, like they say, skin in the game. They're not like rabbinic Jews who are trying to deny or explain away the traditions. They go, yeah, this is what they believe, but they're all wrong. They're all stupid because it's just nonsense. They will admit to you there are Jewish sources, not Christian, written before, during, after time Christ, that teach Messiah as a heavenly divine figure already existing with God, right, who will then show up in the latter days. And even in rabbinic Judaism, guys, rabbinic Judaism, there's a teaching of the Messiah already existing with God, hidden by God, and the light of the Messiah is there from the days of creation. He's there. He's already there. He's been there with God from the days of creation, and he will appear in the latter days. Did you guys know that? How many of you guys didn't know this? Catholic biblicists, everyone already know this. They've studied the material, right? Okay, you guys know this? Here it is. There's the article. Let's not go through the evidence. Let's not go through the evidence. We ready to go through the evidence? So let me see if it's large enough if I were to show my face too, because I know a lot of you love to see my handsome face. When I need love. Yep, let me see. What's our first source? The book of Enoch. You ready? I'm going to be reading. All right, the book of Enoch. Let's read. This comes from chapter 48, verses 1 to 10. And I'm going to quote what Bart Ehrman says. Bart Ehrman, dude. Right? I'm going to quote several scholars, but I'm going to quote Bart Ehrman right here. Let's see. Bart D. Ehrman, How Jesus Became God. The Exaltation of a Jewish Preacher from Galilee, pages 60 to 67. Now, let's read. Get ready. Learn the material. And in that place, now, supposedly, Enoch is taken into heaven. He's given a heavenly vision. Taken into heaven, he's given a heavenly vision. Okay? You guys can see the screen, right? You can see the writing? It's large enough or no? Let me make it a little larger. Hold on. And in that place, I saw the fountain of righteousness, which was inexhaustible. And around it were many fountains of wisdom. And all the thirsty drank of them, and were filled with wisdom. And their dwellings were with the righteous and holy elect one. Now notice, at that hour, that Son of Man was named in the presence of the Lord of the spirits. Watch here. Enoch is developing the teaching of Daniel 7. For Ezra is another source. These Jewish sources, written by Jews, take Daniel 7's figure of the Son of Man and expand on it. So if you're wondering, what are these traditions based on? They're based on Daniel 7. They're taking Daniel 7's vision of the ancient days and one like a Son of Man and expanding and expounding on that theme. Okay? Okay, you got it? Everyone got it? Yeah, I know. Never went to church. Yeah. Everyone got it? Okay, so let's go here. So the Son of Man is named in the presence of the Lord of Spirits. The Lord of Spirits would be God the Father to us. This is not inspired. It's not authoritative. But it gives you an idea of how Jews understood these themes. So if you want to know, hey, how did the Jews understand the Son of Man? Well, right here, it tells you. It's right here. Right? Not inspired, not authoritative, but it gives you an idea of how Jews understood these Old Testament prophecies and themes. So Lord of Spirits would be the one we call God the Father, and we know Son of Man for us would be Jesus. Not for Enoch. Enoch does not believe Jesus, because when this is written, Jesus was not born yet. You understand? He's not a Christian, and it's not written by Enoch. It's pseudepigrapha. It is a false attribution. Enoch did not write this, so keep that in mind. So don't say, oh, wait. Enoch was a Christian? Enoch believed in Jesus? No, man. Enoch did not write this. It's what's called pseudepigrapha. You know how you have a pseudonym? Pseudo, pseudonymous, right? Pseudonymous. Pseudo means false. Pseudepigrapha means false writing, false attribution. It's falsely attributed to Enoch. He never wrote this. Okay? All right, so let's continue. And his name before the head of days. Now, head of days is an allusion to Daniel 7, 9, and 10, Ancient of Days. Yea, notice, before the sun and the signs were created, before the stars of the heaven were made, his name was named before the Lord of the Spirits. Everyone got it? Before creation, God had already named him. He named the Son of Man. Now, does that mean he exists before creation? Yeah, let's go. He shall be a staff to the righteous, whereon to stay themselves and not fail. He shall be the light of the Gentiles. Now notice, it's now alluding to Isaiah 42:6 and Isaiah 49:6, showing you that this work is identifying Daniel, Son of Man, with the servant of Yahweh of Isaiah 42 and Isaiah 49. Are you seeing the allusions and references? Are you seeing it? It's referencing Isaiah 42:6, Isaiah 49:6, where the servant of Yahweh will be the light of the Gentiles. So notice it's combining different Old Testament passages and attributing them to the same figure, because in Enoch, the Son of Man is identified as the Messiah. He's called the Messiah, the elect one. Okay? Yea, now watch. Before the sun and the signs, he was named, right? He shall be a light of the Gentiles and a hope of those who are troubled of heart. All who dwell on earth shall fall down and worship before him. You see, this is taken from Daniel, and the author is expounding on it. Joel, I know that, brother. Take it easy. Take it easy. All right, now watch. If I didn't tell you this was a Jewish source, you'd think this is a Christian source. And will praise and bless and celebrate with song the Lord of Spirits. For this reason hath he been chosen and hidden before him, before the creation of the world and forevermore. Right there, it tells you he's actually alive, has been alive and existing, hidden with God from before the creation of the world. Right there. He's not part of creation. See it? He's not part of creation. Did it sink in? Let's continue. And the wisdom of the Lord of spirits hath revealed him to the lowly righteous one. So the Lord of spirits made his identity known. For he hath preserved the lot of the righteous, because they have hated and despised this world of unrighteousness. And I've hated and have hated all its works and ways in the name of the Lord of the spirits. For in his name they are saved, and according to his good pleasure had it been in regard to their life. In these days, downcast in countenance, shall the kings of the earth have become, and the strong who possess the land, because of the works of their hands. For on the day of their anguish and affliction, they shall not be able to save themselves. Watch here. Okay. Talking about the wicked, evil Gentile kings. They will be destroyed. By who? And I will give them over into the hands of mine elect. As straw in the fire, so shall they burn before the face of the holy. As lead in the water, shall they sink before the face of the righteous. Elect means we, the believers, will conquer them by whose authority? The head of days, the Lord of the spirits, as he sends the Son of Man to destroy kingdoms and kings before us. Watch. No trace of them shall any more be found. And on the day of their affliction, there shall be rest on the earth. And before them, they shall fall and not rise again. There shall be no one to take them with his hands and raise them. They'll be destroyed. For they have denied the Lord of the spirits and his Messiah. Do you see who the Son of Man is? A Jewish source, not a Christian source, says, this Son of Man is the Messiah. This Son of Man is the servant of Isaiah 42 and Isaiah 49. And this Son of Man already exists with God, hidden with God before creation. Do I move on? Right? Everyone got it before I move on? See that? A Jewish source. How come Jewish rabbis or Jewish apologists don't tell you that this was a mainstream view among many Jews before, during, and after the time of Christ? Now let's go here. 1 Enoch chapter 62, verse 1 to 3, verses 7, 9, 13, and 14. Now watch here. You thought that's amazing, right? All right. And I didn't read 1 Enoch chapters 44 to 46. I only skipped to 48. You can go read online for free. Now watch. And thus the Lord commanded the kings and the mighty and the exalted, and those who dwell on the earth, and said, open your eyes and lift up your horns, if you're able to recognize the elect one. Now, the elect one is the Son of Man, the Messiah. And the Lord of spirits seated him on the throne of his glory. So when the Lord of spirits sends him, he will send him to sit on his glorious throne to judge the kings. And I'm going to show you Jesus saying that's exactly what he's going to do as the Son of Man. And the Spirit of righteousness was poured out upon him. Notice a reference to Isaiah 11. The Spirit of the Lord is upon the root of Jesse, and the word of his mouth slays all sinners. That's Isaiah 11, verse 4. Notice it's quoting Isaiah 11, Isaiah 42, Isaiah 49, Daniel 7, 13 and 14, combining all of them and attributing all of them to the Messiah, right? And all the unrighteous are destroyed from before his face. There shall stand up in that day all the kings and the mighty, and the exalted, and those who hold the earth. And they shall see and recognize how he sits on the throne of his glory, and righteousness is judged before him. And no lying word is spoken before him. For from the beginning, the Son of Man was hidden. Meaning, when creation began, he was already there. And the Most High preserved him in the presence of his might. Now, again, if I didn't tell you this is a Jewish source, you'd think I'm quoting a Christian writer, right? Right? If I did not tell you this was a Jewish source, you would think I'm quoting a Christian writer, correct? Let's continue. And the Most High preserved the present mind and revealed to him to the elect. And the congregation of the elect and holy shall be sown. All the elect shall stand before him on that day. And all the kings and the mighty and exalted and those who rule the earth shall fall down before him on their faces and worship. And set their hope upon that Son of Man. And petition him and supplicate for mercy at his hands. So they'll all worship the Son of Man, huh? Focus, everyone. And the righteous and elect shall be saved on that day. And they shall never thenceforward see the face of the sinners. No more sinners and unrighteous. And the Lord of spirits will abide over them. So here, New Testament confirms these parts to be true. God the Father will dwell in our midst. And Jesus will live with us. He's that Son of Man, the Messiah. And there'll be no more sinners. And with that Son of Man shall they eat and lie down and rise up forever and ever. Now, let me quote Robert Gerald Hamerton Kelly. The idea of preexistence in early Judaism, study in the background of New Testament theology, right? Pages 67, 70. Watch what the scholar is going to say. My favorite will be Bart Ehrman. Watch what Bart Ehrman's going to say. Well, let me read. Ready? You guys are enjoying this, right? You guys enjoying this, right? All right. These texts obviously teach that the Son of Man existed in heaven before he was to be manifested on earth. He was named beside God in heaven, 46:1, which I didn't quote. His name was named, chapter 48, verse 2 and 3. He was hidden with God before the creation. That means he's not created. That means he was there before creation came into being. Sure sounds like Trinitarianism. The statement that the Son of Man was both named and hidden before creation leaves no doubt that he was thought to have existed before creation. Damn. And we recommend that you keep your recommendations to yourself. Damn. Really? Right? Whether name implies bringing into existence or not. Nope, doesn't. Because you can name things that already exist. But be that as it may, he's now going to refute some gentleman who's trying to deny that this teaches that Son of Man was there personally existing. T.W. Manson's objections, therefore, miss the point completely. Focusing attention on the naming, he believes there is no evidence of a belief in the pre-mundane existence of the Son of Man. Rather, evidence of a pre-mundane election. And he's saying, obviously, Manson didn't read it because it says he is hidden. He concludes pre-mundane election does not necessarily involve pre-mundane existence as a project in the mind of God. So he's saying, no, he was already thought of in God's mind before creation. That's not what the text says. But the naming is not the act which brings the Son of Man into existence. Rather, it implies that he already is in existence. The text, in fact, tells of the pre-mundane election of a pre-existent being who, since he's also to be hidden, certainly exists outside of God's mind. That's what it says. He's there before creation, hidden with God. That means he himself exists. So God decreed that this one who already exists would be the one to come to punish the wicked. There can be no serious doubt, therefore, that the Son of Man was a pre-mundane. Pre-mundane means he exists before creation. That's basically what it means. Pre-existent heavenly being who was reserved in heaven until the appropriate time for the exercise, sorry guys, I'm getting old, of his office as eschatological judge and king. Watch Bart Ehrman. Now, remember, Bart Ehrman is not a Trinitarian. Bart Ehrman Doesn't believe in the Trinity. Doesn't believe Jesus rose again. Bart Ehrman could care less. What does he say about the Messiah, Son of Man, and Enoch? Quote, you ready? Bart Ehrman, guys. Bart Ehrman, guys. For our purposes, a precise date is not particularly important. What matters is the exalted character of the Son of Man. Many great and glorious things are said and the similitudes about this person, who now is thought of as a divine being. Did you see what Bart Ehrman admits? That Enoch depicts the Messiah as a divine being, as God, rather than, say, as the nation of Israel. We are told that he was given a name even before the creation of the sun. Oops, I got a typo. Damn. All right. So he was given a name even before the creation of the sun and the moon, before the creation of stars. Now watch. This is Ehrman. We are told that all the earth will fall down and worship him before creation. He was concealed in the presence of God himself. This is the second scholar that admitted that this Son of Man, this Messiah of Enoch, is not part of creation. Does everyone see it? Not part of creation. And he's been with God from before creation. Sounds like John 17:5, right? And now, Father, glorify me alongside of yourself with the glory I had alongside of you before the world was. But he was always God's chosen one. And it is he who revealed God's wisdom to the righteous and holy, who will be saved in his name, since it is his good pleasure that they have life. At the end of time, when all the dead are resurrected, it is he, the elect one, who will sit on God's throne. From this throne of glory, he will judge all the works of the holy ones in heaven above, weighing in the balance their deeds. He himself is eternal. Guys, this is Bart Ehrman, dude. Are you like shocked? Bart Ehrman, huh? Is it large enough? Can you see it? A little more. It's large enough, right? Make it a little larger, man. I don't know why to you it doesn't appear as, right? Watch here. Right, that's big enough now, I think, right? Yep, okay. He shall never pass away or perish before the face of the earth, and all evil shall disappear before his face. Now watch. At one point, the cosmic judge of the earth is called the Messiah, a term we will consider more fully in the next chapter. For now, it is enough to say that it comes from the Hebrew word for anointed, and was originally more used of the king of Israel, God's anointed one, i.e., the one chosen and favored by God. Now, the ruler anointed by God is not a mere mortal. He is a divine being who has always existed, who sits beside God on his throne. Damn. Who will judge the wicked and the righteous at the end of time. He, in other words, is elevated to God's own status and functions as the divine being who carries God's judgment on earth. This is an exalted figure, indeed, as exalted as one can possibly be without actually being the Lord God Almighty himself. Now watch. Later on, in response to Christians, there were scribes or a scribe that added chapter 70 to 71, added to the document. And Ehrman admits this. It is striking that a later addition to the similitudes, chapter 70 to 71, identifies the Son of Man as none other than Enoch. In the somewhat later view, it is a man, a mere mortal, who's exalted to the supreme position next to God. As this exalted being, the Son of Man is worshipped and glorified by the righteous. Did you understand what he's saying here? If you don't know the history of the book of Enoch, it's gone through several editions, right? Several corrections, editorial reworking. At some stage in Enoch, most likely after the time of Christ, chapters 70, 71 were added. And in that particular section, Enoch is the Son of Man. Guys, I need you to listen. Why is this important? Enoch is the Son of Man. Now, why is that baffling? Because when you read the first sections, Enoch is not the Son of Man. Enoch sees the Son of Man. If you read it, Enoch is looking and he's asking the angel, who is that Son of Man? Who's that other figure that's not ahead of days? So clearly, the original writing, Enoch sees the Son of Man. He's not the Son of Man. I just read it to you. He's with the angel, and he goes, he sees someone else with the head of days, the Lord of the spirits, and then he's told that's the Son of Man. How in the world does he then become the Son of Man? That implies that in reaction to Christianity, Christians were saying, Jesus, Son of Man. That implies that someone else came and said, no, Enoch is the Son of Man. But in saying that, he or they or she embarrassed themselves, because someone could say, hold on, buddy. All throughout this time, Enoch is seeing the Son of Man. He's presented before the Son of Man. He's not the Son of Man. Was he seeing himself? You understand their hatred for Christianity? 1 second, guys. She told me I had magnesium. I don't know what I have. All right? You with me there? Now, that tells you this is a polemic against Christianity. And then later, Jewish sources like 2nd, 3rd Enoch. There's not just one Enoch. After the time of Christ, you had certain individuals that came up with additional writings about Enoch. 2nd and 3rd Enoch. And in those writings, Enoch becomes Metatron. Metatron. A name of one of the highest ranking angels who is called the lesser or younger Yahweh. His name is Yahweh HaKatan. So in 2nd Enoch, 3rd Enoch, Metatron is Enoch. Enoch becomes Metatron. And in these sources, Metatron is called Yahweh HaKatan. The lesser Yahweh, the younger Yahweh, in contrast to Yahweh HaGadol, the greater, the older Yahweh, Yahweh. Do you know that? It is. Judaism is satanic. You with me there? You guys aware of this? I hope you're enjoying the information. In fact, I have a lot of articles on Metatron. So you go to my blog and you put in Metatron. He's called Yahweh HaKatan. The younger, lesser Yahweh, in contrast to the older Yahweh, the greater Yahweh. Yahweh HaGadol. Here it is. Just put in Metatron in the search engine. You guys want me to do a session on Metatron, Lord willing? Yep. He's Enoch in the later tradition. Here it is. Metatron is the word of God. Metatron, Israel's second God revisited. So you go here, right? Right there. Oh, I can do Ahir later in the back. So there you go. I can do sessions on this if you want. So you just put in Metatron. Look how many articles. The angel Metatron, Judaism's second Yahweh. Judaism's second Yahweh. And then here, Rabbinic Judaism struggled with divine plurality. And notice here in this section, Metatron as Enoch. There you go. See it? That's my guy, Jay. You got it? You see what they did? Yes, Boethius. That's what happened to Enoch. He was divinized, apotheosis. He discarded his flesh and became completely angelic, divine. He's Metatron. So you see how you find the material, right? Sorry, I accidentally exited the wrong one. You see how you find the material, right? All the material free of charge. But brethren, pray the Lord sustain me. I'm telling you. Pray God will, every PayPal patron support I lose, that God will replace them so that it stays steady, if it doesn't increase, to finish the race and do the work of the Lord. So I can do this full time, you see? So I don't take advantage of the grace of God and your blessings to the ministry. Notice, you're supporting ministry financially. I'm doing research. I'm writing, researching, so you can have this stuff for free. So if you believe God is using me, pray, support, stay steady. I can't afford to lose it, but God's will be done. He doesn't need me for his glory until I finish the race. So there you go. So all you do is, and it's all yours, take the articles, study them, share them. Search into, let's put in Metatron. You see? Pray I get increase this week because I lost a few. There you go, right there. And go to older posts. Right here. There you go. Boom. The Trinity. All this, right? Just put in the words. Now, are you shocked that Judaism would identify Enoch as Metatron? You understand why they did that, right? You understand why they did that, right? It's obvious in reaction. Oh, he did that? To Christianity. No, your Jesus is not the Son of Man. He's not the second divine power. He's not the angel of Yahweh. It's Enoch. It's Enoch. But you understand what it means, right? Let's see if you're catching it. Lord, bless the numbers for your glory. You understand what it means, right? It means the Jews cannot deny. Guys, understand what this means. The Jews are admitting to you their Hebrew Bible does not teach Unitarianism. You understand? Does not teach Unitarianism. They're exactly full armor. They're coping. They see in their Hebrew Bible, wow, the God of Israel is not one person. Son of Man, that's clearly not the Ancient Days, but he's also God, and he appears as a man. They are baffled, perplexed, and stunned that their own Hebrew Bible is positing more than one divine power, divine person. You understand? So they don't know what to do with the evidence. And then the Christians come and say, hey, guess what? You know that angel of the Lord? Yeah. You know that Son of Man? Yeah. You know that Word of God? Yeah. He became a man. He was born of Mary. Jesus. Wait. That Jesus of Nazareth, whom we had killed, he's the angel of the Lord? He's the Son of Man? Yeah. No way. Anyone but him. See that? So there you go. And that's Bart Ehrman, right? But let's continue reading. Bart Ehrman. We're going to have fun. If you want me to do Metatron, I will. But I got to also do Daniel 2 and 7. I got a lot of material. I'm going to start going through my articles on common objections for your benefit, God willing. That means I will have at least 20 more years of material to teach you, God willing, if God gives me health and holiness protection, and if the Lord tarries. 20 more years, guys. Let's grow old together if the Lord tarries. But the way it's going, I don't think we're going to be around for too long. I think the Lord is coming. May he come sooner than later, and we're ready. All right? Now watch what Ehrman said. I said, pay careful attention to Ehrman's statement that the Book of Enoch identifies the Son of Man as an eternal being, one who has always existed, since this will prove to be quite significant. Ehrman continues, page 68 from his book. You see why Ehrman is a friend of ours? If you're not intimidated by Bart Ehrman, you know he's a great weapon to destroy Islam, Muhammad, atheism. He's actually a tool being used by Jesus to show how solid the Trinity and the evidence for Christ is. If you know how to use him and are not intimidated by him, I love this guy, man. The dude is helping me evangelize. Thank you, Ehrman. You're great, dude. Love you, man. Now watch here. Page 68. In an interesting and compelling study, Alan Siegel, whom I cite in one of my articles, he wrote a book, Two Powers in Heaven. Scholar of ancient Judaism argues that the rabbis were particularly concerned. Notice, Alan Siegel, the late Alan Siegel, F. Siegel, was a Jewish scholar of rabbinic Judaism, and he wrote a book called Two Powers in Heaven. It's referenced by everyone, even by the late Michael Heiser. And Alan Siegel documents that later rabbis were troubled by what they called the second power, the angel of Yahweh, the Son of Man. They were particularly concerned about a notion which was evidently widespread. See, this is what the modern rabbis don't tell you, they lie to you. A great bulk, a majority of Jews all over the world believe this. When's the last time Tovia Singer told you this? When's the last time that Tovia Singer told you this? When's the last time Tovia Singer told you, before, during, and even after the time of Christ, centuries after Christ, a large number of Jews all over the world believed there was more than one divine person? Okay? That along with God in heaven, there was a chosen power on the divine throne. Following these Jewish sources, Siegel refers to these two, God and the other, as the two powers in heaven. That's what the rabbis called it, two powers in heaven. The Son of Man figure, whom we have just examined, would be one such divine figure as he shares the status and power of God. Right? Are you blessed, blown away? Blown away, blessed, blown away of the massive, overwhelming, I'm talking about overwhelming evidence from Jewish sources, even pagan sources, that even Jews could see from the Old Testament more than one divine person, and that this has been the faith of the Christians from early on. They were not Unitarians, they were not Arians, they were Trinitarians, the true believers of Christ. You see that? Now, for Ezra, attributed to Ezra. Now, this is also pseudepigrapha. It's also pseudepigrapha, and this is another Jewish work that explains who the Son of Man of Daniel is. You want to be blown away? You thought Enoch blew you away. Rarely, if at all, have I seen, heard on YouTube a discussion of for Ezra. Rarely. This is another Jewish source, and I'm going to quote John J. Collins. He's going to tell you the significance of for Ezra, okay? John J. Collins. You guys want to get shocked? I'll even be surprised if most of you even know about for Ezra. I'll be surprised because I don't hear it on other channels. Glory to Jesus for making it known to us, because what he gives to me, I give to you. What I get, it's yours, because I'm your servant called to teach, right? If the Lord confirms it. You think you're going to get this on Kelly Powerless and Anthony Rogers, these arrogant snobs? May the Lord convict them to repent. Sad that people think Anthony's great, because he's got fangirls too. The Lord humbled him to repent. Anyway, here you go. For Ezra, chapter 2, 42, 48. Get ready. Get ready. I, Ezra, saw on Mount Zion a great multitude, which I could not number. And they all were praising the Lord with songs. Now watch. Now, Ezra didn't write this, guys. That's why we call it pseudepigrapha. But now, even though it's a false writing, attributed to someone who didn't write it, it's still written by a Jew or Jews. This is at least telling us what the Jews thought. So they're putting in the mouth of Ezra what they believe. So it tells us what they believe Messiah and the Son of Man. I, Ezra, saw on Mount Zion a great multitude, which I could not number. They all were praising the Lord with songs. In their midst was a young man of great stature. The Son of Man figure you're going to see. Taller than any of the others. And on the head of each of them he placed a crown. But he was more exalted than they. He didn't know who it was. And I was held spellbound. Who is this? Then I asked an angel, Who are these, my Lord? He answered and said to me, these are they who have put off mortal clothing and have put on the immortal. Sure sounds like I'm reading the New Testament. Paul says we'll be made immortal and reign with God. And they have confessed the name of God. Now they're being crowned. Now watch and receive psalms. Oh my goodness. Receive palms? Oh yeah, palms, right? Yeah, it should be palms. Yeah, okay. Sorry, it's palms. I don't know what the heck palms is. It's palms, yeah. Then I said to the angel, who is that young man who places crowns on them and puts palms in their hands? Yeah, it's palms. It's got to be palms because I copy and pasted it from online source. He answered, said to me, he is the Son of God. Damn! Whom they confess in the world. Damn! He's who? Say what? A Jewish source that says the Son of Man, the Messiah, is the Son of God? Say what? Bada bing, bada boom. What? So I began to praise those who had stood valiantly for the name of the Lord. And the angel said to me, go tell my people how great and many are the wonders of the Lord, which you have seen. For Ezra 7:20-29. For my son, the Messiah. No, damn. Bye-bye, Dovia. For my son, the Messiah, shall be revealed to those who are with him. Notice he'll be revealed because he's already existing. And those who remain shall rejoice 400 years. And after these years, my son, the Messiah, shall die. What? A dying and rising, resurrecting Messiah? Say what? What did you say? Hey, hey. How many of you are shocked, dude? Didn't I tell you you have gold? God bless you, man, in your child. On my blog and on my articles. Didn't I tell you you have gold? If you just go, I said over 99% of your questions answered, just use the search engine. A Jewish source? You know it's not a Christian source. One evidence. What Christian would say Messiah will live on earth for 400 years and die? That's not a Christian source. You understand? That's why scholars say this is a Jewish source. It's not written by Christians. No Christian would say Messiah would come and die after 400 years. That's how you know it's not a Christian source. Because Christians know Messiah already came and died and rose again. And when he returns, he's not going to die anymore. You get it? You get it, guys? How much more does this make you love Jesus, love the triune God, love Father, Son, Holy Spirit, love your Bible, and thank the Lord that the Spirit, right, puts you in a situation where you're part of the church. You see the evidence that Jesus has given to silence these blasphemous dogs? After these years, my son the Messiah shall die, and all who draw human breath. Now watch here, 4 Ezra 12. He said to me, watch here, this is the interpretation of this vision which you have seen. The eagle which you saw, now he's going to explain Daniel. So this source, not written by Ezra, is going to expound on Daniel, which I'll be talking about, Lord willing, this week, because I got to go Daniel 2 and 7. The eagle which you saw, the eagle which you saw coming up from the sea is the fourth kingdom, which appeared in a vision to your brother Daniel. So Ezra, even though Ezra didn't write it, Daniel saw this vision. Someone explained it to you. Watch who it is. But it was not explained to him as I now explained or have explained to you. Are you catching it? This Jewish source is claiming that Ezra was given the explanation of Daniel's vision, even though Daniel wasn't given the full details. And as for the lion whom you saw rousing up out of the forest and roaring and speaking to the eagle and reproving him for his unrighteousness, and as for all his words that you have heard, this is the Messiah. He's the lion, whom the Most High has kept until the end of days, who will rise from the posterity of David. Did you catch it? He's already with the Most High. He's kept with the Most High, hidden with the Most High, and he'll come from the line of David in the latter days. You caught it? And will come and speak to them. He will denounce them for their ungodliness and for their wickedness, and will cast up before them their contemptuous dealings. For first he will set them living before his judgment seat. And when he has reproved them, then he will destroy them. But he will deliver in mercy the remnant of my people. Right? Those who have been saved throughout my borders, he will make them joyful until the end comes. The day of judgment of which I spoke to you at the beginning. This is the dream that you saw, and this is its interpretation. Hold on. We got more. Let me read this one last, and then we're going to read this one. For Ezra 14:8-9. Lay up in your heart the signs that I've shown you, the dreams that you have seen, and the interpretations that you have heard. For you shall be taken up from among men, and henceforth you shall live with my son and with those who are like you until the times are ended. So you're going to be taken up to be with my son in heaven, Ezra, because he's there in heaven. You're going to go there. So let's read now for Ezra, chapter 13, 32, 38, 51, 52. Sorry, guys, I got hiccups. Oh, Lord help me. Okay? And when these things come to pass, and the signs occur which I showed you before, then my son shall be revealed, whom you saw as a man coming up from the sea. So he already exists, but will reveal at the end of time. Right? You with me there? He's called the Lion of Tribe of Judah because of Genesis 49, 8-12. And when all the nations hear his voice, every man shall leave his own land, and the warfare that they have against one another, an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together, as you saw, desiring to come and conquer him. Battle of Armageddon, huh? But he shall stand on the top of Mount Zion. That's exactly what the New Testament said. Jesus left the Mount of Zion, will return to Mount of Zion, fulfilling Zechariah 14. And Zion will come and be made manifest to all people, prepared and built, as you saw the mountain carved out without hands. That's Daniel 2, the vision of the rock, stone that becomes a mountain. And he, my son, will reprove the assembled nations from their ungodliness. This was symbolized by the storm, and will reproach them to their face with their evil thoughts and the torments with which they are to be tortured, which were symbolized by the flames, and will destroy them without effort by the law, which was symbolized by the fire. I said, O sovereign Lord, explain this to me. Why did I see the man coming up from the heart of the sea? Watch. He said to me, just as no one can explore or know what is in the depths of the sea, you can't plunge up sea, so no one on earth can see my son or those who are with him except in the time of his day. Did you catch it? Just like the sea exists, and there are things in the sea, the Son of Man, the Son of God, the Messiah, already exists, but will only appear at the latter days. Who didn't catch this? You guys getting it? But now watch John J. Collins. John J. Collins. He's not a Christian, doesn't believe Christ was raised, thinks the Bible full of errors. The Danielic Son of Man, in the book The Scepter and the Star, the Messiahs of the Dead Sea Scrolls, other ancient literature, chapter 8, page 167. Look what he says. The two earliest Jewish interpretations of Daniel 7 are found in the Similitudes of Enoch. We read that. And for Ezra 13. So what does he say about this? Both these passages assume that Daniel's one like a son of man is an individual, one person, contrary to the lie of Tobias Singer. That's referring to Israel. And both use the term Messiah with reference to him. Now note, in both these documents, the Son of Man figure is pre-existent, meaning he already exists. and therefore transcendent in some sense. Okay, sink it in, guys, before I move on. But what else does he say? Page 181. The figure of the Son of Man in the similitude shows considerable development over against Daniel's one like a Son of Man. It expands on what Daniel 7 says. In later rabbinic tradition, the name of the Messiah is listed among the things that preceded the creation of the world. So even in Judaism, the name of the Messiah was already named before the creation of the world. The Son of Man is equated with the Messiah in 1 Enoch 48:10, 52:4. We read that. Folks, pay attention, right? While the title Messiah plays a minor role in the similitudes, it is all the more significant that the identification of Messiah and Son of Man can be assumed. That Enoch assumes Son of Man is Messiah. Daniel's one like a Son of Man appears after the judgment of the beasts and kingdoms. In the similitudes, he is said to cast down kings from their thrones and from their kingdoms, and he takes his seat on his throne of glory as judge. He also has the role of revealer. In many respects, pay attention, the Son of Man, the Messiah of Enoch, he seems to be assimilated to the deity. Did you catch what that means? Do you understand what he's saying here? In many respects, the book of Enoch identifies Son of Man with God and as God, and that his identity is subsumed in the identity of God, who also sits on the throne of glory. 48:5, people fall down and worship him. And this is not a Christian, guys. It's an atheist. He thinks that Daniel 7, the Son of Man there, is Israel. Yes, Manuel. Okay, what does he say about for Ezra? You guys are not asleep yet, right? All right. What does he say about for Ezra? Page 186. Collins states, according to Enoch and for Ezra, the Messiah is a pre-existent, meaning he already exists, transcendent figure whom the Most High has been keeping for many ages. Are you shocked at this? Now, another non-Christian Jewish scholar, Jacob Neusner, who had to admit, reading these sources, the Mishnah and Talmud, and reading Enoch and all these Jewish sources, he admits the following. This is a non-Christian Jewish scholar in his book, Judaisms and Their Messiahs at the turn of the Christian era. What did the Jews believe about Messiah at the time of Christ? Right? Edited by Jacob Neusner, William Scott Green, and Ernst S. Frerichs. Right? Page 275. Look, we focus upon, oh, you got it? Check that quotation there. We focus upon how the system laid out in the Mishnah takes up, Mishnah is around 200 AD, and disposes of those critical issues of teleology. Teleology means end time, how the end will occur, worked out through messianic eschatology. So he's looking at the Mishnah. Mishnah is Jewish sources around 200 AD, according to Rabbinic Judaism. What did the Mishnah say about how the Messiah will bring about the end time? Earlier versions of Judaism. These earlier systems resorted to the myth of the Messiah as Savior, Redeemer of Israel, a supernatural figure, not merely human. You caught it? A supernatural figure, not merely human, guys. Not merely human. Engaged in political historical task as king of Jews, even a God man. Damn! What are you saying, dude? Yep, read that section. Tell me if it's there. I know it's there, but I'm just trying to make sure because, I just want to, it's been a while. Does he even use the word God man? He says these early Jewish traditions depict the Messiah as a God man facing the crucial historical questions of Israel's life and resolving them. The Christ as king of the world of the ages of death itself. It's there, right? So he's got the book in front of his eyes. You see how much they've hidden from you guys? Stuff they don't want you to know. Now watch this rabbinic Jewish source compiled after the time of Christ. See? He's got it right there. He's got the book and he's reading it right there. Now, Pesikta Rabati. You guys want to get shocked? Here's a later rabbinic Jewish source run after the time of Christ and the spread of Christianity. Pesikta Rabati. Guys, you will be in shock. This is a rabbinic Jewish source that Tovia Singer should be aware of. Raphael Patai, the Messiah text, Jewish legends of 3,000 years. Okay? And then I'm going to quote Rivka Ulmer. She is a Jewish scholar who comments on Pesikta Rabati. And then we're done. Okay? You ready? And we're done. This will be it. Let me see. Maybe I'll just quote from her. Yeah, I think I'm going to quote from her. Let me see. Is that her? Rivka Ulmer. I may skip Raphael Patai because I believe it's the same thing. Yep, let me quote her. I'm just going to quote her. You ready? Here it is. Pesikta Rabati. I'll quote her version, not Raphael Patai. So now watch what this Jewish source says. And I want you to catch another thing. This Jewish source says Psalm 22 is about Messiah being crushed and suffering for our sins. Let me repeat. I repeat. Psalm 22, which Tovia Singer denies is about Messiah. Psalm 22 is quoted by this rabbinic source, Pesikta Rabati, as about Messiah accepting to suffer and be crushed for the sins of the Jews and the world. Let me repeat. Pesikta Rabati, a rabbinic Jewish source, says Psalm 22, which we quote, and the New Testament quotes, about Jesus, the Messiah, being pierced, crushed for our sins, and God vindicating him by raising him to mortality. The rabbis here in Pesikta Rabati admit Psalm 22 is about Messiah agreeing to be crushed, agreeing to suffer for the sins of Israel and the world. You guys got it? So I can read it? You guys want to hear it is? Black and white. Why don't they tell you this? Why don't they share this? Why aren't you taught this by the rabbis? But yet, why aren't the Christian apologists teaching you this? And why aren't the churches sharing these sources with you? Now, you do have Jews believers in Jesus that are sharing this. Michael Brown shares this. One for Israel shares this. Radar Apologetics, they will share this to show the Jews their own sources. Now watch, let's read. Pesikta Rabati 36:4. This is Rivka Ulmer's translation. You're going to get blown away. God began to talk about the terms with Ephraim. Ephraim is the name for Messiah. He's given many names. He's called Ephraim. He's called David. He's called son of David, son of Joseph. Okay, watch. Look at the verses they're quoting and applying to Messiah, saying to him, in the future, the sins of those who have been hidden with you will bring you under an iron yoke. They make you like a calf whose eyes grow dim from carrying a heavy yoke, and they will choke your spirit with your yoke. And because of their sins, Your tongue will stick to the roof of your mouth. Psalm 22:16. And then he tells Messiah, are you willing to endure this? Okay, now, I don't know if you got this. You understand? Messiah is already alive. He's already existing. And even before he comes to the world to suffer, God is asking him, will you accept to suffer? So here is a rabbinic Jewish source that confirms the pre-existence of Messiah, that he's already there from the days of creation, hidden with God under his throne, and God is telling him, do you agree to come into the world and suffer? And he goes, yes. But he first asks, for how long? Look. Watch here. The Messiah said in God's presence, will this suffering last for many years? Guys, is the light switch going on? I don't want to finish if you don't get it. They're admitting God and the Messiah are already living together, dwelling together, and Messiah is there from creation, being asked by God, will you accept to suffer? So where does Tovia Singer get that Messiah is merely human? No pre-existence. The Holy One said to him, by your life and the life of my head. Do you understand what they had God say? According to our New Testament, God cannot swear by anyone who's equal to him or greater than him. That's why he swears by himself. But here the rabbis have God swearing by the life of Messiah and his head, making Messiah his equal. You caught it? God says to Messiah, by your life and by my head, the life of my head. Wait. Hebrews 6:13-16 says, because God could not find anyone equal to him or greater than to swear by, he swore by himself. Here they have God swearing by Messiah's life and the life of his head, making Messiah his equal. I have decreed for you a week. You're going to suffer 7 years. If your soul is saddened, I will immediately banish them. All right, now notice the option. God says, Messiah, if you suffer for them, I'll forgive them. If not, I'll destroy them. It's up to you. It's up to you. If you die and suffer for sins, I'll forgive them. If you don't want to, don't worry about it. I'll destroy them for their sins. In other words, their salvation depends on Messiah accepting to die. Okay, watch here. The Messiah said in his presence, Master of the universe, I will take this upon myself with a joyful soul and a glad heart. I accept, provided that not one person in Israel perish, that only those who are alive should be saved in my days, but that also those who are dead, even the dead who have died since the days of the first human being up until now, should be saved at the time of salvation in my days. So when I show up, all who have died, I die for their sins too, suffer for their sins. I also will suffer for the aborted babies that they will live, including those who you thought to create. If you had in mind to create anyone, you didn't, I'm going to die and suffer for them. But we're not created. Such are the things I desire, and for this I am ready to take all this upon myself. At the same time, the Holy One, blessed be He, will appoint for the Messiah the 4 creatures who will carry the Messiah's throne of glory. Did you catch it? I don't know if it's sinking in. And Ezekiel chapter 1 and chapter 10 state that the 4 living creatures, the cherubim, carry the throne of God. And here we're told that's the throne of the Messiah. That's the throne of the Messiah. Ezekiel 1, they saw 4 living creatures, which are the cherubim in Ezekiel 10. And above them was a throne and a man on the throne that was the glory of the Lord. And here they say, that's the throne of the Messiah. They're carrying the throne of the Messiah. For the Messiah, right, the 4 living creatures will carry his throne of glory. Yeah. You guys asleep or you're still enjoying this so I can continue? Isn't it sad? You have people going to channels, 2,000, 1,500, 1,200, doing nothing productive, not going in-depth exegesis, wasting time, and they're losing out. And believe me, brother, I'd rather have fewer numbers of quality people than people manifest, because I'll get you out of here. Imagine if these thousands learned these facts and shared them. But that's the sad state of people today. Now watch. Pasikta Rabati 36:6. Are you catching it? They're applying Psalm 22 to Messiah. Don't let Singer lie to you. During the week, 7-year period, when Ephraim, one of the names of Messiah, and I'll show you the footnotes, comes, they will bring iron beams. So now Messiah is sent into the world to suffer 7 years. They will put them on his neck until the Messiah's body is bent. Okay? He will scream and weep, and his voice will rise up to the height of heaven from the pain. He will say in his presence, Master of the universe, how much can my limbs endure? How much my spirit? Am I not but flesh and blood? Isn't it ironic? He's flesh and blood, but he existed from creation with God before he appeared in the flesh. It was this moment that David lamented. Now, here the Jewish rabbis admit, when David wrote Psalm 22:16, he was mourning for Messiah. He wasn't talking about himself. My strength is dried up like a potsherd. In that hour, the only one says to him, to them or him, Ephraim, my righteous Messiah. Now watch. How long has Messiah been living? You have already accepted the suffering since the 6 days of creation. Damn! Messiah was already there when God created the 6 days of creation? And Messiah was already alive and conscious during the 6 days of creation, and that's when he agreed during the 6 days of creation that he would take this suffering so people will not be destroyed? What? You caught it? Here. You already accepted the suffering since the 6 days of creation. That means he's been alive from the time of creation. Now your suffering is like my suffering. Look, he's God's equal. You suffer like I suffer. I swear by your life like I swear by the life of my head. Since the day on which wicked Nebuchadnezzar destroyed my temple and burnt my sanctuary and exiled my children among the nations. Now I'm going to tell you how old Messiah is according to this source. Guys, I swear you're going to pass out from shock. Okay? Exiled my children among the nations of the world by your life. Look, by your life and the life of my head. What? So Messiah's suffering is equal to God's suffering. God swears by Messiah's life like he swears by the life of his head. I have not sat on my throne. And if you don't believe, see the dew that is upon my head. My head is filled with dew, my locks with the drops of the night. And that hour, the Messiah will say in his presence, Master of the universe, now my mind is at rest, for it is sufficient for the servant to be like his master. So I'm like you. Now watch. She goes on to say, Rivki Ulmer, look, quoting her, the earliest medieval rabbinic text that appears to cite this Pasikta Rabati material is found in Moshe of Narbonne, 11th century AD, also referred to as Moshe HaDarshan, the preacher. He presents a dialogue, guys, get ready to be shocked, in which the Messiah is asked by God if he accepts the suffering. Midrash Barashit Rabati, Genesis 1:3. Your eyes will not see light, but your ears will hear the great reprimand of the nations of the world. Your tongue will cleave to the roof of your mouth. Your skin will stick to your bones, quoting Psalm 22:16-18, which in our version is Psalm 22:15-17. And your body will be worn out from distress and moaning. Now, did you catch it? It's citing Genesis 1:3 as referring to the light of Messiah. When it says, let there be light, they're saying that's the Messiah. That's the light of Messiah. That's when he appeared with God right when he started creating. You saw it? And again, she says, quoting her, From what page? Watch here. We're going to go down. It's long, guys, but I can't finish it, right? Pages 121, 122. Look what she says. This is Rivka Ulmer. She's a Jewish scholar. She's not Christian. Pasikta Rabati 37:2. This teaches in the future, the month of Nisan, the fathers of the world. Look, the fathers of the world. I hope you're not bored and you're enjoying this. Keep praying for my health and holiness. The patriarchs, meaning Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, will rise and say to him, Ephraim, they're going to talk to the Messiah, our righteous Messiah. Even though we are your fathers, you are greater than we are, because you suffered for the iniquities of our children. Oh, wait, I thought Messiah doesn't suffer for the sins of Israel. Give him the article. I just said it's in my article. And terrible ordeals came upon you, such as did not come upon earlier generations or later ones. For the sake of Israel, you experience anguish, derision, and mockery among the nations of the world. Quoting Psalm 22 again. You sat in darkness and gloominess, and your eyes saw no light, and your skin cleaved to your bones. Quoting Psalm 22 again. And your body was as dry as a piece of wood, and your eyes did not see light, and your skin shriveled on your bones. Quoting Psalm 22 again. And your body was dried up like wood, and your eyes grew dim from fasting. Your strength is dried up like a potsherd. All these afflictions on account of the iniquities of our children. If you want to come up later and discuss with me later, not now, I'll talk with you, boss. I'm going to use your Muhammad to prove it's not corrupted. Anyway, it is your will. This is now Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob talking to Messiah, saying you're greater than us. It is your will to benefit your children through that goodness, which the Holy One will bestow upon Israel. It may be because of the utmost anguish, which you did suffer on their account in prison, that your mind is displeased with them. Maybe you're angry with them. Maybe you're disgusted with them because they caused you to suffer. What does Messiah say to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? He said to them, fathers of the world, all that I have done only for your sake, and for the sake of your children, and for your honor, and the honor of your children, that they will benefit from the goodness which only one will bestow upon Israel. He's saying, don't worry about it. I did it gladly out of love for you and your children. They said, Ephraim, our righteous Messiah, may your mind be at rest, since you put to rest the mind of your Creator and our minds. Well, hold on, it gets better. Pasikta Rabati, 37:3. Rabbi Simeon ben Pazi said, in that hour, the Holy One will raise the Messiah up to the heaven of heavens and will shroud him in something of a splendor. Say what? So Messiah was there from creation with God, hidden in his throne. He will then enter the world, suffer 7 years, and then be exalted, taken into the highest heaven, and be clothed with the splendor of God? What? You guys got it? And will shroud him in something of splendor because of the nations of the world, because of the wicked Persians. He said to him, Ephraim, my true Messiah, be the judge of these, and do with them as your soul desires. For the nations would long have been destroyed by you in an instant. You would have wiped them out. You're more powerful than all of them. You could have wiped them out had not been my mercies, been exceedingly mighty on your behalf. For your sake, I preserved them because of you, for your sake. As it is said, is Ephraim my dear son? Is he a darling child? For whenever I speak of him, I earnestly remember him. Still, therefore, my inward parts are troubled for him. And mercy, I will have mercy upon him, says the Lord. Okay, now watch here, guys. You ready? Say what? I got one more section after this, and then we're done. Say what? Watch here. Pasikta Rabati 37:4. Why does the verse mention twice mercy? In my mercy, I will have mercy upon them. Why twice? So they want to know. One mercy refers to the hour when he's in prison. since the nations of the world will gnash their teeth, wink their eyes, nod their heads, open their lips, as is said. So that mercy is when Messiah will be imprisoned, tortured. All those who see me mock me. They move the lip, they shake their head. Again, applying Psalm 22 to Messiah. Right? Editorial note here, right? Paragraph. My strength is dried up like a potsherd, meaning there's other messages that have this. And my tongue cleaves to my jaws, and you laid me down in the dust of death. They roar at him like lions and fancy devouring him. Again, quoting Psalm 22. As it is said, all our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Editorial paragraph. A predatory and roaring lion. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It is melting in the midst of my bowels. And they roar at him like lions and fancy devouring him. They're applying Psalm 22 to Messiah. As it is said, all our enemies have opened their mouths against us. Fear and the pit have come upon us. Desolation and destruction, and mercy will I have mercy upon him. Referring to the hour when he, Ephraim, Messiah, leaves the prison. So nations of the world will despise him. There's not one kingdom or two or three kings in the world that will come upon him, but 140 kingdoms to try to attack him, will encompass him. The Holy One will say to him, Ephraim, Messiah of my righteousness, do not be afraid of them, because all of them will die from the breath of your mouth, as it is said. And note, they also apply Isaiah 11 to Messiah. Say what? Isaiah 11:4 is about Messiah. Psalm 1:2 is about Messiah. So the New Testament is right. Jesus is right. The apostles are right for applying these to Jesus. And with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. Damn. Final one. What did she say about all this? Rivka Ulmer, after quoting all this, look what she says. After quoting all this, guys, look what she says. Okay? Remember, she's a Jewish scholar. Right here, page 127, 28. We're going to go out with a bang. Look what she says, guys. This is not a Christian. Right here. The Jewish Jesus, Revelation, Reflection, Reclamation, edited by Zev Garber. Page 120. Ulmer, the Jewish Jesus, right? This is a Jewish woman. Right here, in your face, Tovia Singer. Right here, the hidden Jewish Messiah relates to a pre-existent heavenly being, resplendent, majestic, sitting on the throne of glory. Wow. Did I tell you you'd be shocked? She's admitting Pasikta Rabati, a Jewish source, teaches Messiah is a heavenly being, not an earthly one, who's already existing, who's been there from the time of creation, on the throne of glory. You caught it? You caught it, man? Are you shocked? But let's continue. Similarly, then she's trying to show the similarities between Christian view of Jesus and the rabbinic Jewish view of the Messiah. Similarly, the Christian description of Jesus, occasionally referred to as the Word, claims the Christian Messiah was with God at the beginning of creation. The concept of the hidden Messiah continues in mystical midrashic literature, such as Midrash Conan, another Jewish source, depicted a concealed Messiah residing in the Garden of Eden. So he's living there. Now look what she goes on to say. Guys, get ready. A psalm of suffering, Psalm 22, is applied to Messiah Ephraim in Pasikta Rabati. But I thought Tovia Singer says Psalm 22 is not about the Messiah. I thought Rabbinic Judaism says Psalm 22 is not about Messiah. The explication of biblical lamata as narrative is a hermeneutic approach of some midrashic texts, meaning they'll take Old Testament texts and create a narrative a conversation to help you understand what the text is saying. This is often the case in homiletic works that create a narrative for the listeners. You see what she's saying? What rabbis would do is they would take an Old Testament text and create a story, a conversation to help you understand the meaning of the text. So they created a story where God and the Messiah are existing together from creation. Messiah is with him on the throne, and God is telling Messiah, will he fulfill Psalm 22? So the Jews will understand that Psalm 22 is about Messiah suffering for them to save them. Right? All right. Let's finish it. So here it is. Pasikta Rabbati contains the rabbinic crystallization of creating a descriptive narrative of a Jewish Messiah through Psalm 22 and its metaphor of distress. Allusions to the psalm are deeply embedded in the Pasikta Rabbati narrative. This narrative is part of a hagiography, meaning a holy, sacred writing. Hagiography means holy writing. Agios, right? Grapha. Slightly resembling other narratives of martyrs and rabbinic texts. Now watch the bold. Additionally, the Messianic narrative is somewhat similar in construction to the Jesus narrative in the Gospels and the extra testamental writings of the church fathers. You understand what she's saying? This Jewish narrative explaining Psalm 22 resembles what the Gospels say about Jesus' suffering and what the early Christians said about Jesus' suffering in light of the Old Testament. You got it? But now let's continue. Pasikta Rabbati applies Psalm 22 to support the concept of Messiah Ephraim's suffering for humanity. In the New Testament, lamata, meaning references from this psalm, are applied to the Passion. Exactly. The psalm provides biblical language and the dramatic script for the description of suffering for the Jewish and Christian Messiah. So you caught it? She's saying both Rabbinic Judaism and Christianity, the New Testament, apply Psalm 22 to affirm a suffering Messiah. Okay? In Pasikta Rabbati, a remarkable interpretation emerges. The Messiah suffers for the sins of Israel of the world. Say what, Tovia Singer? I thought, Tovia Swinger, Messiah does not die for the sins of the world, and he's not pre-existent. But Rivka Ulmer says, Pasikta Rabbati teaches Messiah suffers for the sins of Israel and of the world. God makes an agreement with the Messiah to be afflicted for the sake of the sinners. Now watch the footnotes, guys. Get ready. It's page 123, right? After a period of suffering, followed by his humiliation in the final eschatological battle, the Messiah is involved in the final judgment and resurrection of the righteous. Damn! Not only does he suffer, but he'll be exalted and he'll judge and destroy the enemies and be part of the resurrection of the righteous. Other rabbinic texts interpret lamata in order to combine Psalm 22 and the Aqidah, the sacrifice of Isaac. Now watch the footnotes from her article. Footnotes. Yeah, because they have to then admit Jesus is Messiah, right? Footnote, endnote 44. The text has Ben David saying that Ephraim's the son of David, although it continues with Messiah Ephraim. This may indicate the conflation of Messianic ideas and Pasikta Rabbati. Alternatively, it may be due to one of the numerous scribal errors in the Parma manuscript. Okay, watch. I want you to catch the note. Get ready to be blown away. Let me read the notes for you. She's showing you the parallels with the New Testament. What Pasikta Rabbati says parallels the New Testament. For example, in Revelation 19:15, the Messianic figure returns to rule with an iron rod. This term is symbolic of power. Pasikta Rabbati applies the term to the power of the government. In Psalms of Solomon, the Messianic figure is a king in the image of David. Psalm of Solomon 17:21. Another work that I'll be discussing, Lord willing. He will smash the Gentile oppressors of Jerusalem with an iron rod. Now watch here. Her note 53. Guys, oh man, why like this? The fifth chamber. This is where Messiah ben David, Elijah and the Messiah, Ephraim dwell. Okay, she's quoting a source. So in this fifth chamber, Messiah is there, Elijah is there, and the other Messiah, Ephraim. Now, some traditions say Messiah, son of David, Messiah, Ephraim are the same. Others divide them, but pay attention. Elijah holds his head and allows it to rest on his chest. Elijah holds the head of Messiah Ephraim and allows Messiah Ephraim to rest on his chest to comfort him from his pain. He encourages him and says to him, bear the torment and judgment of your Lord while he punishes you for the sin of Israel. For scripture says he is pierced for our rebellions, crushed for our transgressions. Down! Wait. A rabbinic source says Messiah, son of Ephraim, is being punished. He's feeling pain to fulfill Isaiah 53:5. And Elijah's holding him, embracing him, encouraging him. You can do it. You can endure. Messiah, don't worry. You are enduring this for the sins of Israel. You're being pierced for their sins. Damn. Until the time when the end arrives. Every Monday, now watch. Every Monday, Thursday, Shabbat, Friday, and festival day, who visits the Messiah? The ancient patriarchs and Moses and Aaron, David and Solomon, the entire royal line, the prophets and the pious ones come to greet him and to weep together with him. Do you catch it? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Aaron, David, Solomon, all the Davidic kings, Elijah are there comforting him, thanking him for suffering for their sins. They express gratitude to him and say to him, bear the judgment of your Lord, for the end has almost arrived, and the chains which are on your neck will be broken off, and you'll go forth in freedom. You caught it? You caught it? Now this note should blow you away. In the Yalkut Shamouni on Isaiah 56, another rabbinic Jewish source, Yalkut Shamouni, Psalm 36:10, talking about Yahweh. This is the light of the Messiah, as it is written in Psalm 36:10. In your light, we see light. You know why that's mind-blowing? Psalm 36 is not about Messiah, it's about God. It says, in your light, God, in the light of God, we see light. But they attribute this light to Messiah. They're saying God's light is the Messiah who helps us to see. Do you understand what these are rabbis, Jewish sources. Psalm 36:10, go read it. It's in the light of Yahweh we see light. But they're saying the light of Yahweh is the Messiah's light, identifying him as Yahweh. Right? Yalkut Shimoni. And I actually cite that elsewhere, one of my other articles. So let's wrap it up, because here, Raphael Patai quotes Pasikta Rabati. I didn't quote his version, I quoted Rivka Ulmer's version. But notice what he quotes here. I want you to catch something. Here's another version from Raphael Patai. Here it is. Hoshea said, quote, Hoshea said, remember the footnote she gave? Psalm 36:10, your light, we see light. She goes, that's the light of Messiah, even though it's the light of Yahweh, identifying Messiah as Yahweh. Quote, Hoshea said, in the future, Jerusalem will be a lantern for the nation of the world, and they will walk in her light. Now watch. Pasikta Rabati, okay? Who's quoting this? Pasikta Rabati, pages 161a and b, right? Who's quoting this? Right? Raphael Patai, the Messiah text. Jewish legends of 3,000 years. Suffering Messiah, pages 100, 113. What does this Jewish source say about the light of Yahweh? What does the Jewish source say about the light of Genesis 1, 3, and 4? In thy light do we see light. This is the light of the Messiah, as it is written, and God saw the light and it was good. Damn. The Pasikta Rabati says that when God said, let there be light, and when Psalm 36:10 says, in your light, in Yahweh's light, we see light, that's the light of Messiah. He is Yahweh's light, who was there from creation. This teaches us that the Holy One, blessed be He, saw the generation of Messiah and its deeds prior to creation of the world. So He was there before the world. And He hid the light for the Messiah and His generation under His throne of glory. Finally, Satan sees this light under God's throne. Satan, what does he say? Pasikta Rabati. Satan said before the Holy One, blessed be, Master of the world, the light which is hidden under your throne of glory, for whom is it destined? He said to him, for him who will turn you back and disgrace you and shame your face. He said to him, Master of the world, show him to me. So he knows it's a person. He said to him, come and see him. So he's already there, guys. A rabbinic Jewish source saying Messiah is already there, alive, with God in his throne. When Satan saw the Messiah, bye-bye, Tovia Singer, it's over, it's over, it's over. Satan saw Messiah already there as a light, hidden with God, because he didn't become flesh yet. And when he saw him, he shook with fear and horror, knowing this Messiah would destroy him. He trembled and fell upon his face and said, surely this is the Messiah, who in the future will cast me and all the princes of the nations of the world into Gehenna. We're done.